They say trust is the foundation of any marriage. For 8 years I trusted her. Lisa. Gave her my life, my children, everything. And now, here I am, picking up the pieces of a shattered reality. I thought I knew our story, but it didn't begin with a heated argument or an obvious betrayal. It began with a conversation that slowly and unexpectedly transformed into something I never could have imagined. One evening, as we lay in bed, Lisa turned to me. There was something in her eyes that made my stomach churn, a mix of excitement and determination. She cleared her throat, and with a hesitation that lingered in her voice, she said, "Tom, Mark and Jenna have invited us to a party this weekend, haven't they?" Her words floated in the air like a subtle warning. I glanced up absently from my phone. "Yeah, they have. Why?" She paused for a moment, weighing her words carefully before saying, "It's not just any party, Tom." I sat up, unease settling in my chest. "What kind of party is it?" I asked, my voice a little sharper now. Her words came out slowly, but they hit me like a punch in the gut. "A swinger party." I laughed, thinking it was some kind of joke, but the seriousness in her eyes made me stop mid-laugh. "Are you serious?" I asked, staring at her in disbelief. "Why not?" she replied, crossing her arms defiantly. "We've always followed the rules, Tom. Don't you think it could be fun?" I blinked, struggling to make sense of what she was suggesting. "Lisa, do you hear yourself? You're talking about sleeping with other people." Her expression hardened, her voice growing sharper. "It doesn't mean anything. Just for fun. Mark and Jenna say it brings them closer together." "I don't care about Mark and Jenna," I snapped. "I'm not interested." End of discussion. But it wasn't over. Lisa didn't stop there. Over the next few days she kept bringing it up, nagging me in the most unexpected moments, when I was doing the dishes, brushing my teeth or watching TV. "Just think about it, Tom," she urged, her voice persistent and unrelenting. By Thursday evening, as I tucked Emma into bed, she made her announcement. "I'm leaving." Her tone was sharp and defiant, and I followed her into the living room, closing the door behind me. "Go ahead," I said, my voice controlled but betraying the hurt beneath. "If you really want to go. You think it'll be fun. Fine. What about Emma and Ben?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, but the anger was creeping in. "Get a babysitter." "It's no big deal," she replied dismissively, brushing past me. "This is important to me," I countered, my voice rising despite myself. "Do you really think this is okay? Is this madness good for our relationship?" "Yes, I do," she shot back, turning to face me. "Tom, you're so uptight. It's just one night. If you weren't so stubborn, you'd come too. Maybe it'll help us." "Help us?" I repeated, the words sounding alien on my tongue. "Oh, watching you with another man." She rolled her eyes. "Don't be so dramatic." Each word she said struck me like a hammer, breaking a little more of the trust one had so carefully built. My heart was pounding, and I had to force myself to breathe to steady myself. I looked at her, my voice barely a whisper, but my words final. "I won't divorce you, but if you go, it's over. I'll file for divorce." Her eyes widened in surprise, but instead of backing down, she doubled down. "You're pathetic if you think I'm going to give up our marriage over one night." I stood there, the silence between us deafening. My mind raced, the weight of the decision settling in. She wasn't the woman I married anymore. After a long pause, she broke the silence, almost playfully. "Oh, Tom, if you're so nervous, I can record it for you so you know it's no big deal." Her words slapped me across the face, not physically, but in a way that left me stunned and speechless. I couldn't even comprehend what she was suggesting. "You'll record it?" I asked, my voice shaking with disbelief and anger. She shrugged as if it were the most casual thing in the world. "Yeah, why not? See for yourself. Maybe it'll make you feel better." In that moment my mind raced. If she was foolish enough to record herself cheating, it would be perfect evidence. Evidence I could use in court. Evidence that would confirm her betrayal beyond a doubt and leave no room for denial. I would get the house, the children, everything. But she didn't need to know what I was thinking. Not yet. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to appear indifferent. "'Kay. Whatever." My voice was calm, almost detached. "If you want to do this, go ahead. Do what you want. Go record it if it makes you feel better. I won't stop you." Her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Just like that? Where are all the shouts and divorce threats?" I shrugged, pretending to be unaffected. "If you think it's important, go ahead. I won't stop you." She studied me for a moment, her expression unreadable, before she nodded slowly. "'Kay. We'll go. Don't worry about me, Tom. I'll have a great time without you." She didn't wait for a response. She grabbed her purse, her black dress clinging to her body in a way that made my stomach churn. "Don't forget your camera," she added, her voice sharp before she slammed the door behind her. I stood there in the silence that followed, my thoughts a whirlwind. The weight of what had just transpired hung heavy in the air. I called my mother, explained the situation vaguely, and asked if she could take Emma and Ben for the weekend. She didn't ask any questions. Within the hour, I had packed the kids' bags and dropped them off at her house. When I returned home, I poured myself a drink and sat there in the quiet, trying to process everything. What had just happened? How had we reached this point? I didn't know the answers, but I knew one thing for sure. The woman I had loved for so many years had chosen a path that would change everything. The anger and betrayal churned inside me, but I forced myself to stay calm. This was only temporary. Tomorrow I would have the proof I needed, and I would begin cutting her out of my life. The next morning, Lisa came home around 10 a.m., looking disheveled. Her hair a mess, makeup smudged, and clothes wrinkled as though she had spent the night at a neighbor's house. But there was something about the smugness in her eyes, a quiet satisfaction that made my blood boil. She placed her purse on the counter, leaned over it, and smiled at me as though nothing had changed, as if she hadn't just shattered our marriage. "What's up?" she asked, raising a crooked eyebrow. I remained silent, my face expressionless. She laughed, reaching into her bag for her phone. As she held it up, her tone casual, almost mocking, she said, "All you need to prove this isn't a big deal. Go on, have a look." Her attitude, her complete disregard, pushed me to the edge. Without saying a word, I took the phone from her hand and turned toward the stairs. "Wait, where are the kids?" she called out after me, glancing around the house as if just realizing the silence. "They're with my mom," I replied, not stopping or turning back. "No need to let them see you stumble in like this." She opened her mouth but quickly caught herself, rolling her eyes. "You're exaggerating. They won't even notice." I didn't answer. I ascended the stairs, my jaw clenched, the weight of the pain unbearable. In the privacy of our bedroom, I connected her phone to my laptop and began transferring the files. My hands trembled as I opened the folder, my heart pounding. Deep down, I still held onto a sliver of hope. Maybe it was all just a cruel prank, something orchestrated to deceive me. But as I clicked on each video, that hope shattered. Each clip grew worse, more painful. Her laughter, the intimacy, the complete lack of regard for me or our life together. When I had finished watching, I felt hollow, like a part of me had been ripped away. The final shred of doubt vanished. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a mockery of everything we had shared. But amidst the pain, clarity struck. This was the end. I copied every file to a secure drive, ensuring I had every piece of evidence. Taking a deep breath, I walked downstairs, every step heavy. Lisa sat on the sofa, scrolling through her phone, oblivious to the storm that had just been unleashed. I handed her my phone, and she took it, smiling smugly, clearly thinking she had the upper hand. "Hope it was all worth it," I whispered, my voice cold. Her smile faltered, confusion flashing across her face. "What does that mean?" she asked. "You'll find out soon enough," I replied, turning away without waiting to see her reaction. I went to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of wine, and sat at the table, staring at the wall. The decision had been made. Tomorrow I would call the lawyer. Tomorrow I would start taking back my life. The next morning I made the call. I met with the lawyer, reviewed my options, and filed for divorce before the weekend. Lisa, ever confident, had no idea what was coming. The video she had so carelessly provided had given me the upper hand, the evidence I needed to secure custody of our children and ensure favorable financial compensation. When I handed her the divorce papers, she laughed, disbelief in her eyes. "Tom, you're being ridiculous." "Just a reflex. Calm down." "Lisa," I said firmly, my voice unwavering, "it's over." I told her the kids were already with my mother, and I was leaving. I packed their things, determined to find a space where we could breathe, away from the chaos. But as the days passed, it became clear that Lisa wasn't ready to face the consequences. Her confidence faltered, and she started pleading with me to reconsider. One evening, she showed up at my mother's house, desperation in her eyes as she begged to see the kids. "Tom, please," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "I made a mistake. I want to fix this, not destroy it." I blocked her path, my voice cold as steel. "The moment you walked out that door, you destroyed it." The divorce was brutal, but the evidence was undeniable. Lisa's lawyer tried to argue that the swinger party was consensual, but my lawyer swiftly refuted it. The judge ruled in my favor: full custody of Emma and Ben, and Lisa only received a fraction of what she had expected. After the divorce, I moved into a small apartment, starting over. Lisa stayed in our old home, though it had lost all warmth and comfort. The once vibrant space was now just a shell of what it had been. Months later, I ran into my neighbor Mark at a local store. He seemed uneasy, unable to meet my eyes. Finally, he spoke almost apologetically. "I think you should know something," he said, lowering his voice. "Lisa didn't just sleep with one man. She slept with 3. My stomach churned as I processed his words. I nodded, barely able to speak. "Sorry, man," Mark added, clearly uncomfortable. I walked away without saying anything. My mind was racing. I thought I knew the full extent of her betrayal, but this was something else entirely. There was a small shred of gratitude amidst the pain. At least I had discovered Lisa's true nature before wasting any more time on her. Rebuilding my life wasn't easy, but I did it, for myself and for my children. As for Lisa, the last I heard, she was still living in our old neighborhood. Her reputation had fallen apart, and it turned out that sleeping with half the people at a party wasn't the best way to salvage her image.